You don't just think. You think, and then you think about your thinking. A simple moment turns into a long chain. One thought leads to another, then 10 more, and before you realize it, you're stuck inside your own mind. You replay things, what you said, what they meant, what you should have done differently. Even small situations start to feel heavy. A message you sent, a reply that felt different, a look someone gave you. You go over it again and again, trying to understand it, trying to control it, trying to find certainty. But the more you think, the less certain you feel. That's the trap of overthinking. It feels like you're solving something, but most of the time, you're just looping. Your brain is searching for answers in places where there are none, and it doesn't know when to stop. Because your mind is built to protect you. It wants to predict outcomes, avoid mistakes, prepare for the future. So it starts asking questions. What if this goes wrong? What if they think something bad about me? What if I regret this later? At first, it feels helpful, like you're being careful, like you're being smart. But slowly, it becomes overwhelming. Because not every situation needs analysis, not every thought needs attention, and not every possibility needs to be explored. But your brain doesn't filter that automatically. It treats uncertainty as a problem, something that needs to be solved. So it keeps working, even when there's nothing to solve. That's why you feel stuck, because overthinking is not about thinking too much, it's about not knowing when to stop. You wait for a clear answer, a perfect decision, a guaranteed outcome. But life doesn't give that. So your mind keeps searching and searching and searching without ever reaching a conclusion. And that constant search drains you. It takes your energy, your focus, your peace. Even when you're doing nothing, your mind is busy. Busy trying to control things that can't be controlled. Busy trying to predict things that haven't happened yet. Busy trying to fix things that don't even need fixing. And the more you do it, the more normal it feels. You start believing that this is just how you are. That's just my personality. I've always been like this. But overthinking is not your personality. It's a pattern, a habit your mind has learned over time. And like any habit, it can be changed. Not by forcing your brain to stop thinking, but by changing how you respond to your thoughts. Because the problem isn't that thoughts appear. That's natural. The problem is you follow every single one of them. You treat every thought like it matters, like it needs your attention, like it deserves a response. But most thoughts are just noise, random, temporary, meaningless. They come and go, unless you hold on to them. Overthinking starts when you hold on too long, when you try to figure everything out, when you refuse to let uncertainty exist. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from thinking less, from stepping back, from allowing things to be incomplete. You don't need to solve every situation. You don't need to understand everything perfectly. You don't need to predict every outcome. Sometimes you just need to let things be. And that's uncomfortable, because your mind wants control. It wants certainty. It wants answers. But peace doesn't come from control. It comes from acceptance, from realizing that not everything needs to be figured out right now, from trusting that you'll handle things when they actually happen, instead of trying to handle them in advance. So how do you stop overthinking? Not by fighting your thoughts, but by changing how you respond to them. The next time a thought appears, don't immediately follow it. Pause, notice it, and ask yourself, is this useful right now? If it's not, let it pass. Don't engage, don't analyze, don't go deeper. Just let it be there and fade. At first, it feels strange because you're used to reacting. But over time, this creates space. Space between you and your thoughts. And in that space, you regain control. Another thing that helps is shifting from thinking to action. Overthinking lives in inaction. The longer you wait, the more your mind fills the gap. So instead of thinking more, do something small. Not perfect, not complete, just enough to move forward. Because action breaks the loop. It gives your mind direction. It replaces endless thinking with real progress. And slowly, the noise starts to quiet down. You won't stop overthinking overnight, and that's okay. Because the goal isn't to have zero thoughts. The goal is to not be controlled by them. To not let every thought pull you into a spiral. To not lose yourself inside your own mind. Because you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. You are the one choosing which ones to follow. And once you realize that, everything starts to change. Your mind becomes lighter. Your decisions become easier. Your energy returns. Not because life got simpler, but because you stopped making it harder. So the next time you find yourself stuck, thinking the same thing again and again, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, I don't need to figure this out right now. Because sometimes the best way to move forward is to stop going deeper inside your head and start stepping back. Your mind doesn't need more answers. It needs more space. And when you give it that space, you don't just think better, you feel better, you live better, and most importantly, you finally get out of your own way.